Denver's mayor backs off his comment about local police trying to stop Donald Trump's planned deportations, but he warns Denver won't just let it happen.
If the president or any of his actors are going to do things that we think are illegal or immoral or un-American, we'll stand up against those.
The state explains why it chose not to tell Coloradans about thousands of botched drinking water tests. Her criminal justice degree was derailed when she became the victim of abuse. Now she's back to finish what she started. And tonight, we say farewell to a voice you know on Next. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is walking back his comments suggesting Denver police would somehow try to stop a mass deportation by federal forces. Yet the mayor says he expects the people of Denver would resist, and he says he would too, even if it means going to jail. Mayor Johnston told Denverite that if President-elect Donald Trump makes good on his plan to send a federal force in to deport every single person here without documentation, then, quote, more than us having DPD stationed at the county line to keep them out, you would have 50,000 Denverites there. It's like the Tiananmen Square moment with the rose and the gun, right? State law prohibits DPD from enforcing immigration law, but DPD wouldn't say if they would try to actively obstruct mass deportations by the feds. The mayor told our Mark Salinger today he believes the citizens of Denver would stand in the way if the feds come in for non-criminals. And the mayor says he would too.
Situation in Denver. I want to just ask you very specifically, are you open to sending Denver police officers to the county line to stop federal forces or National Guardsmen from other states from coming into Denver?
We have no plan to do that. And we really hope that we don't ever have to do that. I think
no plan, but are you open to it?
What we're going to do right now is, it's hard to keep an eye on what the future president actually plans to do and what the proposal actually is.
It sounds to me like you're walking back the comments from a couple days ago saying that you would be willing to send Denver police officers. Do you regret making those comments and now getting questions like this?
Would I have taken it back if I could? Yes, I probably wouldn't have used that image because that's an image I hope we can avoid. What I was trying to say is this is an outcome I hope we can avoid in this country. I think none of us want that.
You talked about civil disobedience. You've mentioned that a couple of times now. Would you be willing to participate in those as the mayor of Denver? Would you be willing to go out and protest these things?
I would. If I believe that our residents are having their rights violated, if I think things are happening that are illegal or immoral or un-American in our city, I would certainly protest it, and I would expect other residents would do the same.
Trump's new border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate with reasonable people how to solve hard problems.
You would encourage people to protest?
I think we're going to look at every option. But yeah, I don't think that there are, I talked to some high school kids this week who were terrified about this. I don't think those kids are going to stand there and watch 3 of their classmates get pulled out of a history class with the other 27 stand by and do nothing. I don't think that's what Denverites or Americans would do in this context at all.
What is your line where you say, yes, I support these deportations, and no, I don't support these other ones?
Yeah, I think our line is clear. We think if you are a violent criminal that is committing serious crimes like murder or rape in Denver, you should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law and you should be deported.
The mayor paints a scary picture, of course, of federal forces coming into places like schools and going into high school students who are here in the country illegally, asking them to stand up and leave. I asked him several times, what's the plan on day one if federal forces or National Guardsmen from other states show up in Colorado? He says right now there is no plan, but they're hoping to come up with one before inauguration in January.
I think some of this, Mark, is that you've got these moving targets, right? Donald Trump will say he's going to do one thing, then his people say, no, it's actually going to be this other thing. So you have municipalities, states making a number of different preparations. But it appears to me that the mayor is at least walking back this idea of some kind of like direct confrontation between an armed local force and an armed federal force.
Yeah, these are all hypotheticals that we are talking about, but they are very real potential hypotheticals. I mean, we are just a couple months away from where these hypotheticals could become reality. The comments about DPD being stationed at the county line, you heard him say it right there, that he regrets those, and he hasn't said, or at least he didn't say, that he has had any conversations with the Denver police chief about where that would go.
Mark Salinger, thank you. Secretary of State Jena Griswold has managed to unite her fellow Democrats with Republicans in disgust over her handling of her office's leak of voting machine passwords. Tonight, 9 News investigates the bipartisan frustration from county elections officials. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
The post-election audit of voting machines was completed today, and it verified the ballots that were run through the voting machines were counted accurately. At a hearing in front of lawmakers that helped determine the budget for the Secretary of State's office, Democrat Jena Griswold used that audit as additional proof that nothing was compromised by the leak of voting machine passwords.
It confirmed, again, the accuracy of the results and that voting equipment worked exactly how it should have.
At the hearing yesterday, Griswold also defended the timeline about the password leak she learned about on October 24th, but did not notify county clerks until October 29th.
I regret that some clerks learned about the issue from a source that was not the department.
Was the plan to contact the clerks once you had determined the scope of that breach, Secretary Griswold?
We were planning to determine the entire scope and then determine what our next steps would be.
Emails 9 News Investigates requested show some of the clerks discussed. The day before the election, Boulder County Clerk Molly Fitzpatrick, a Democrat, wrote this email to the communications director at the Secretary of State's office and copied the higher-ups, including Griswold. My understanding and sympathy has turned into complete irritation and disdain at the lack of support we are getting to communicate to voters. At this point, I have no hope that you will be supporting clerks with communications, and I'm turning my attention elsewhere. Fremont County Clerk Justin Grantham, a Republican, found out his voting machines were not impacted on October 30th from this email sent from the Secretary of State's office. My sincere apologies for keeping you all in suspense, but you are the group who did not have any equipment in the leak. The day before the election, Grantham wrote Griswold this letter seeking a detailed explanation for what happened and an apology. If you can't do either of these things, then I request you step aside and allow someone else to finish out the remainder of your term. Grantham finished the letter, I cannot in good conscience trust you in this position and defend your office.
The Secretary of State's office has hired an outside law firm to look into how the passwords were leaked online, which will cost right now around $25,000. But we know how. It was an employee who had passwords in a hidden file, and then that got uploaded to the website. The voter confidence is, what did the office do to confirm each security measure worked along the way?
Yeah, that is the threat here, to voter confidence, not to the system. Interesting, Marshall, you hear from clerks who are critical of Griswold, and then there are quiet clerks. There are not a line of clerks out the door to defend her. Marshall Zellinger, thank you. Colorado's health department pulled a Jena Griswold recently and kept a problem with water quality tests a secret. They say that an employee manipulating thousands of tests was not a public health risk, so you, the public, did not need to know. Monday, we broke the news that the EPA had pulled a certification from Colorado's lab after a chemist allegedly fudged thousands of results for 69 different public water systems, including schools and a state prison. The chemist was placed on leave in February, then retired to avoid discipline. The state didn't tell the water system operators until August and never told the public.
We wouldn't normally do a public notification unless there was an immediate public health threat. We would notify the water supply folks, the directors, and we would partner with them on their communication with their own consumers.
Today, we learned that a deputy director also left after not acting on reports about the problem. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson, this is the point where everybody wants to know the Thanksgiving forecast, even though it's virtually impossible to give them specific details at this moment.
Yeah, that's pretty much right, because the system that's moving in is really hard to pin down. It's coming from a bomb cyclone off the Pacific Northwest, and with it, we're just seeing daily changes to our forecast. So it's one of those things we're going to have to sit tight as those models become closer into agreement. Right now, it's looking like we're going to have Thanksgiving dinner with dry weather outside, but the day before Thanksgiving, we could see scattered snow showers across the Front Range. In the meantime, we're dry and just a little cloudy right now, 44 degrees at DIA, winds coming in from the northeast at 5 miles per hour. Now, this is a look at our current radar where we have this ridge of high pressure over central portions of the U.S., and that does include Colorado. But off to the northwest here, this is that next system that's pushing in, and it's going to reach Colorado Sunday, but its first approach Sunday is likely only going to bring some snow showers into the high country and leave the Front Range and Eastern Plains dry Sunday. Now, in the meantime, tonight, overnight lows will be in the 20s and 30s, and then tomorrow we're going to see those temperatures warm up into the middle 60s in Denver, 40s and 50s across the Front Range, Eastern Plains, and even into some portions of the high country. So we're going to look for the mountain snow on Sunday, but the Front Range looking for those snow chances on Wednesday to become more widespread.
Our goal with the Word of Thanks microgiving campaigns is to touch every community in Colorado, and we know that hunger is a need that truly is everywhere. So let's get after it in southern and eastern Colorado. This week, we're supporting Care and Share Food Bank's mobile pantry system. The nonprofit's mobile markets go to senior housing complexes and community centers. They go in the Springs and Pueblo, out to small towns on the plains, up in the mountains. They focus on areas that are far from brick and mortar food banks. Care and Share had to cut the budget for this program a bit this year, but I'm hoping that together we might be able to make up that difference. It's pretty crucial work they do. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. We'll send you that link to join me and a bunch of others in donating. More than 3,600 of you have signed up to simplify your giving by making a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. Dollars our nonprofits can count on. We've started recent micro-giving campaigns with $25,000 in donations each week. Use that same QR code or text to get there. She was studying violence and abuse in school as it was happening to her at home. That derailed her dream. Now a survivor and advocate is back to finish what she started. And like Disney, your good news is on ice. Next. An influential advocate for fellow sexual assault survivors in Colorado and beyond felt a shame that she didn't share. Shame over why she had not finished her master's degree in criminal justice a decade ago. Tonight, Kimberly Corbin sits down with our Kelly Rinke to talk about finishing what she started.
Always. I cannot go anywhere alone.
Help comes in all forms. Support is never far away as Kimberly Corbin heals with a microphone.
I'll be editing podcast recording, and the whole reason we created this in the first place is because we're interviewing survivors.
She gives survivors of sexual assault a platform to share their story.
I have spoken to these larger groups, trained prosecutors, law enforcement.
Kim's passionate about her mission.
TED Talk 2018.
For her, it's not just work.
I am a crime victim advocate and sexual assault survivor. In 2006, that's when everything got turned upside down by a stranger who broke into my college apartment, held me captive for 2 hours, and sexually assaulted me. Changed everything for me.
Kim's sexual assault as a student at UNC put her on a new path.
And so I bounced a lot between this building and the psychology classes.
She changed her business major to study psychology and criminal justice.
I figured if I could help one person not have to experience what I did, that would be worth it to me.
A bachelor's degree was just the beginning. Kim got accepted to grad school in 2010 and made it to her final presentation.
And I hit this mental block, and I couldn't get around it. I'm hearing that I'm not good enough. I'm hearing that I'm not actually that smart. The person that was in my ear and became almost that voice in the back of my head was the person that I trusted the most. It was my partner.
She wrote a thesis on trauma and intimate partner violence while living through it.
I didn't realize that the things that I was studying and coding and learning about were actively happening to me at the same time.
That voice stopped her from finishing her master's.
And that has been the source of so much internalized shame and guilt and held me back.
She advocated for survivors for years without realizing she needed help too.
I needed to do the most brave thing I've ever done, and I needed to ask for help.
UNC answered that call 11 years after Kim should have earned her master's.
But they looked through all my transcripts, and I got a call that I'm so glad that I recorded, but said, "We are awarding you your master's degree."
Years of shame for not finishing turned into overwhelming joy.
I got very choked up because I know how important that was to her.
Ew, feelings.
Michael Rourke has supported Kim from the start.
I was the lead prosecutor on the sexual assault case in which she was and is the survivor. And we successfully prosecuted her attacker.
Over those years, Michael and Kim worked together at the district attorney's office, became co-workers, then friends, and now?
She's my wife.
Michael wants Kim to hold on to happy moments.
Made a video where I got to present her diploma to her, and
Not with waiting for the next shoe to drop, just celebratory joy.
The support she's received will lead her back to school next month.
I am walking in graduation, and then I was informed that I will be giving an address to the graduating class. All right.
Kim is used to a script when sharing her story.
This is not my A game, just so y'all know.
But the kindness of others leaves her speechless.
On the degree itself, the day that it should have been, which was the 10th day of May in 2013.
It was a date stuck in her mind.
Ask for help. Keep going, it's so very worth it.
Until she followed advice she'd always shared with others.
And to think all I had to do was ask. It's wild to me.
Kimberly feels like she has her voice again because now she can share her entire story. She will be giving her commencement address next month at graduation at UNC.
I'm so glad you brought us this story. As somebody who has followed her advocacy for the better part of a decade, and she's just this powerhouse in the world of advocacy, I never would have known that there was this thing that was bothering her so much.
I know, because she's been so passionate about sharing her story, but now she realizes that was only such a small part. And now she has been so brave to open up about something that has really, made her feel so much shame. And now she's understanding all I need to do was ask for help. And that gave her the confidence to now share her complete story with everybody.
She's tremendous. This is your last story on 9 News.
It is.
This is the last report that you're going to file in your career as a journalist.
Oh my
because
gosh.
you're going to go take on new challenges.
I can't, it's surreal for me to even think about, but I've given this so much thought over the last year, and my heart was just telling me that it was time for a change. I've loved my time in news, but the world was telling me it was time for a new adventure, so I'm taking a leap, I'm taking a risk, and I'm having full faith in this process.
I'm so happy for you. You have this rare mix in journalists of kindness and tenacity and politeness and fearlessness. It's made you a great journalist, but you're going to be great at whatever you do.
Thank you so much.
Know that. It's been wonderful to work with.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're back with your good news next. Every Friday brings a pause in the headlines for the good news of your lives. This week on ICE.
My good news is that the ice rink is finally open.
My good news is that I'm figure skating with my 3 really good friends in downtown Denver.
It's definitely an experience, especially with the bell tower.
In New York on Thanksgiving, there's like a parade with all these balloons. And so we're doing that at school.
My good news is that we're gonna go to a Denver Nuggets game today.
We're doing it with like balloons.
My good news is that the Professional Women's Hockey League is going to be playing a game at Ball Arena in January, so come support women's hockey.
Mine didn't pop, but the balloon didn't pop, but my friend's balloon popped 2 times.
2 days ago was my birthday, and this is my birthday trip we're on.
It's still pretty mild weather, so it's good weather to get out to be skating.
Sign your daughters up for hockey. Sign her up for hockey.
Yeah. It's awesome. The weather's perfect right now. The sun's not too bright, and it's nice and cool.
Just to have the sky rises next to you and to be able to just kind of look up and see everything is awesome to me.
The ice rink is finally open for the community, for the people of Denver, the tourists, everybody who want to come downtown, check it out, bring back 16th Street to what it was.
Feedback next. Withhold the name on feedback tonight. A woman says, thank you for that segment with the woman experiencing domestic violence. This viewer says she is going to ask her abuser to leave tonight. Please reach out for the assistance that is standing by in our community to help keep you and others safe. Please reach out.